My name is Tyshana Carpenter, and I am the board president of Don't Shoot Portland and the director of the Black Gallery. We were established as a civil rights, arts, and education organization in 2016, and since then we've been using local archival history, critical research, and educational resources with institutions like the City of Portland Archives in order to confront and inform current systems. The exhibit that I'm standing in front of today is a pop-up at Souvenir Arts, and it is a part of a multi-year-long series called Liberated Archives. And Liberated Archives is literally the act of us researching, digging deep, and looking further into Oregon and other state legislative policies that have actually mandated harm against different marginalized groups of people, people and communities that have been deemed disposable or systemically undervalued. So our purpose with community archiving lies in the fact that we can use historical documents in order to self-educate and inform our communities about a lot of really very prominent measures that are still in effect today, especially that affect areas such as housing, the workplace, discrimination in healthcare, redlining, gentrification, all of these different things that kind of shape our experience of the world around us. So Liberated Archives is mostly based on Oregon legislature that revolves around a policy that was about Black people, Japanese people, immigrants in general that were also criminalized when they came to Portland, Oregon. The state of Oregon is known for having several poor farms, which was a way for them to not only track communities coming to Portland, Oregon, but a way to criminalize them if they were seeking fulfillment or moments of opportunity in other areas outside of the poor farm. A lot of the documents that we have here on these walls not only capture that history, but they also capture a petition from the 1940s where several hundred signatures were collected in an effort to disallow a Black settlement from coming to Northeast Alberta, which is where Souvenir Arts Gallery is based today. A lot of these signatures, the addresses still exist. A lot of the family names are still here in this city. So anytime we install the Liberated Archives exhibit, we are issuing a call to action for families and people to really dig deep into their history and to also feel empowered and equipped to do something about that. A lot of the other material that we've sourced for this exhibit is from the 1981 Opposum Incident, and it happened here in Portland, Oregon, where my great-great-grandmother's restaurant, the Burger Barn, was harassed and made the subject of a very sick and threatening joke or prank by members of the Portland Police Bureau, where they actually captured and murdered a family of possums and then dumped them on her restaurant door. The footage of every news segment that occurred from that time was captured by my great uncle, Derek, who is no longer with us, and he actually captured all of that archival information as a young teenager, pushing a VCR or pushing a VHS tape into the VCR every time it came on the news. And we've actually been told that this footage does not really exist on the several different news stations that are featured in this footage. So for us, we're combining statewide archives, city archives, and our own family's archives to kind of share a timeline of how racism in Portland, Oregon has kind of undergone this legislative maneuver where it's still heavily relevant today, and it's also kind of created a blueprint for more policies like this to be created. So during this exhibit, we've also used a lot of cell phones images that were found on social media, because in addition to our work as community archivists, we love to use a digital footprint. We love hashtagging, geotagging, because it's a way that we are able to track social movements and communicate globally with one another and advocates for racial justice. So a lot of the images that are featured in our exhibit are from previous protests, raising names in commemoration and also in resistance, lives that were cut short by police brutality, state-sanctioned violence, and white supremacy. We have also several letters. The petition that I mentioned is 196 pages. There are only a few panels featured here, but we also have hundreds of pages of letters that were written to Commissioner Charles Jordan, who was the police commissioner at the time of the Opposum Incident. A lot of these letters are very interesting to read. They're very conflicting narratives, very conflicting viewpoints, but the commonality is that everyone felt so strongly about what happened that they either were, outraged at the decision for him to fire the police officers, or they were outraged that he was under fire for disciplining them for what was a racial attack. All of it together, all of these aspects, from the petition to the city maps, to different documents that we have stored here, it really does paint a picture of seeing the resistance and then what has brought that on. I think that a lot of times when we do the Liberated Archives, we always end up educating quite a few people that come in that are just brought in by the walls, and they want to see more and they want to see it up close. Every time, people never spend less than 10 minutes in the gallery. It broadens their meaning, their understanding, their perspective. If they're residents of Portland, Oregon, I think they also take that home and they reflect. They do their own research, and it also makes them more of an advocate for their own issues in their lives, because a lot of us have a story that we need to look deeper into. And when you look at who is here and who was displaced, I think that's a very serious conversation that can be difficult to approach. And using art as that medium makes it to where anyone can kind of come in and admit any faults or any desires or inner thoughts that they've had about maybe their family's history, or maybe how they've come to own this vital piece of property in a beautiful area. It all just brings so much to the surface that I think will never stop being relevant. So we are honored to have another space to bring Liberated Archives into, and we are just excited to be able to see it in a different space. Every time we choose different panels and we choose different images of the cell phones to bring new life into it. So there's never the same iteration. And this one is one of our best yet.